Greetings, everyone. My name is Jerron McMillan, and I am with the Building Bridges Initiative, also referred to as BBI. Today, we are here with Kimberly Musser, Director, and Khadijah Kita, Social Worker of the Sunrise Center, a residential program that is part of the Children's Home of Wyoming Conference located in Binghamton, New York. With this short video, you will hear how the Children's Home of Wyoming Conference has shifted some of their approaches in working with children and families and implemented sensory modulation resources to support both children and families within their program. A huge thank you to the Redlick Horowitz Foundation for sponsoring BBI Works with the Children's Home and also for their sponsorship of the BBI Sensory Modulation Project. Thank you also to the Youth Development Institute, also referred to as YDI, located in Phoenix, Arizona, for hosting staff from the Children's Home of Wyoming Conference for an on-site learning experience and for sharing their expertise with sensory approaches on the BBI sensory video for staff. Children's Home of Wyoming Conference staff use strategies that they've learned from both activities to support and advance their practices within their own programs. Kimberly on the left and Khadijah on the right. Hope you both are doing well. Thank you both for joining us today. So BBI has been working with the Children's Home of Wyoming Conference to support improvements in family-driven and youth-guided care practices, including moving to eliminate the use of coercive interventions, including restraint. Congratulations to the Children's Home having already started the hiring process for, in part because of their work with BBI, bringing on 2 full-time family partners and for working towards a new position for a permanency specialist. As I mentioned a bit ago, BBI was able to, because of the generosity of the Redlick Horowitz Foundation, to send the Children's Home of Wyoming Conference a number of sensory modulation tools. Let's hear from Kimberly and Khadijah. I have a couple of questions for you both today. Can you both share how these tools are effective in supporting youth and learning to self-soothe and regulate?
Yeah, definitely. So we really took on to this idea of sensory items and adding some more tools to our toolbox for our staff in order to have, what other things can they use to reduce restraints and just engage youth and families. So we started seeing an increase in restraints with one of our residents, and we felt that there was something more to it. And why was she getting in restraints? What was she getting out of restraints? So we did a massive debriefing to figure this out, and we really put the focus on sensory items and how could we utilize sensory items to replace what she was getting when she was being restrained. So I'll let our social worker talk a little bit more how we went about introducing that to the youth, to the family, and to all of our staff. But that's really where our sensory items and our brainstorming really came from, is this restraint reduction and engaging of youth and family and our staff.
So when I met with her, she had informed me she doesn't like getting in restraints. So the goal was, what do you need? So I introduced to her the BBI video, and I broke it up in bits and pieces to tailor to what would be eye-catching to her. And the very big thing to her was, wow, it would be nice if I was to come on dorm and people was to ask me, what do you want your room to look like? It would be nice if I can have posters and blankets and change it from kind of just the walls being white. So she said it would be nice if it could be like a light blue, and we made sure that that was done immediately. Getting her some comfort boxes. So she said she likes fidget spinners, and she noticed that someone in the video that was a youth had talked about kinetic sand, so that was something that she was interested in. And we really kind of, after digging deep, realized that the restraint was more about that touch. So just the hug me shirt, she was really, really into, and just a side hug so that it was appropriate. And she said, that makes me feel loved and that makes me feel supported, that people aren't mad at me. Because sometimes when the restraints are happening, I feel then bad. I feel like I'm in trouble. But that hug and just wearing that shirt provides me a sense of comfort. So we also did some things like weighted blankets and essential oils. And then we did the activity that was on the video about the lotion and the sensory and the just mindfulness breathing. And that really helps her when she is in my office and we're doing individual counseling, but she feels a little anxious, just to kind of relax her. So we start each session with kind of like a relaxation, a breathing exercise that she can do even at home, even in her bedroom at night.
That leads me directly to my next question. Can you provide any examples of how family were involved within the sensory modulation process?
Yes, so I did it with two different families, and with this particular child that we're talking about, a lot of it was when she gets upset, she just doesn't know how to self-regulate any of her emotions. And sometimes that causes barriers and challenges with the family because they just want to be able to ask her to do something and for her to just do it. So we kind of talked about what the BBI video was about and what we took away from it and how the sensory tools can be incorporated while she's in her room, just taking time apart. And a lot of them with the mindfulness activities and just even the warmings. And what we noticed is she wasn't using the weighted blankets, but that was because she didn't know how and the benefits of it. So doing a lot of research and educating the families about how successful sensory regulation could be. So using those sensory tools. So a lot of allowing them to show the child how to use these things was really beneficial to them. And then ways and times that they can use it even when she's home. So when there's a heated discussion or something that escalates and she needs to take time away in her room, how she can be utilizing those tools so she's not disrupting property or damaging anything that's in their house. So that was something that was helpful. Another parent that I have is far away, so we do Zoom calls, and sometimes we're talking about some serious difficult topics. And with this COVID, she wasn't able to go home and see the family. So having her talk to her father about some difficult issues, just having something in her hand. So the warmies and just the fidget spinners and just coloring, just different sensory tools so she can use to just kind of relax and make it more comfortable, because she said, I have ADHD and you want me to sit here for an hour and talk about difficult things. That's really hard for me. So those things were really beneficial.
And we provide these items. A lot of the items we're trying to make sure get to go home with the families. We have the warmies on our program, but we did a group where we made our own warmies. So everyone picked their own stuffed animal that they liked. They made their own warmies so that could go home with them. The MP3 players, the essential oils, just items that, the hand lotions. What can we take from here that can also go home with them? So it was really important for us to not recognize that, they're going to need them here, but they're going to need them outside of here too. And if we're building these skills in our program, we want the families to have the same opportunities as they had while they were with us. And I would just like to add that we really were hoping that the young lady that was part of our program and her family were going to be able to partake in this video today, because we really thought that'd be a great, extra touch to see what the work we've done with them. The girl has since been discharged from our program, is back in the community, so we were unable to make those arrangements at this time. But in the future would like to do stuff like that with the families and their testimonials and how things have worked. And just in addition, I just want to add that this isn't just about, one youth or one family. We've had a couple of girls that we've really done this with, but our plan is to make this part of our program. And we've really taken on to the essential oils. We have what's called a relaxation room, and we're kind of turning that into our sensory room. We have the sensory balls in the room. We have the essential oils, so when you come into that room, that there's a certain smell to it to calm the kids. So we're really trying to utilize the sensory items that have been provided to us, not just individually, but just on the program, because not only does it help the kids, but it helps the families when they come for visits, and it helps our staff as well. So I've seen benefits all around in all aspects of our program.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Kim, Khadijah. A shout out to your CEO, George Dermondy, and all of the other staff at the Children's Home of Wyoming Conference for their openness and commitment to BBI principles that align with the research on improving positive outcomes for youth and families post-residential discharge. Thank you again to our sponsor, the Redlick Horowitz Foundation, who made it possible for us to do the work with the Children's Home of Wyoming Conference. And lastly, please visit our website at buildingbridges4youth.org. That's www.buildingbridges4youth.org. And visit our sensory modulation landing page for more information on advancing your residential program's abilities to support youth and learning to self-soothe, self-regulate, especially during these times of stress. and how to support families with taking care of themselves and supporting their children, all through sensory modulation approaches. Take care, everyone. Thank you for watching today.